comes to pyramids, most of us immediately think of Egypt with its grand structures like the Giza pyramids. However, few people know that in Sudan, the land of the ancient Nubian kingdom, there are more than 200 pyramids, even more than in Egypt. These pyramids are remnants of a brilliant but little-known civilization. Nubia, located along the Nile River, was once home to ancient kingdoms such as Kushite and Kush. The Kingdom of Kush, which existed from around 1070 BCE to 350 CE, was one of Africa's oldest civilizations. The Kushites built pyramids as burial sites for kings, queens, and nobles, reflecting their power and belief in the afterlife. Close your eyes and imagine, amidst the desolate red sands of the Sudanese desert, stone blocks rise proudly like spears pointing toward the sky. These are not mirages of the desert, they are the Nubian pyramids, standing firm through thousands of years of wind and sand. If Egypt's Giza pyramids are majestic giants with imposing forms, then the Nubian pyramids resemble lean but resilient warriors, tall, steep, slender, and especially mysterious, as if whispering tales of the ancient past. Unlike the massive Egyptian pyramids, which can span dozens of meters at the base, the Nubian pyramids are much smaller. On average, a Nubian pyramid is about 6 to 30 meters tall, with a steep angle of about 70 degrees, while Egyptian pyramids slope at around 50 degrees. This makes the Nubian pyramids appear taller and sharper, like arrows piercing the desert. Each pyramid usually has a base width of only 5 to 8 meters. The first feeling when you stand before a Nubian pyramid is not overwhelming size, but curiosity, a compelling urge to step into the mysterious world inside the stone structure. Unlike Egypt, where burial chambers are usually located inside or above the pyramid's base, the Kushites had a unique approach. The entire tomb was built underground. Each pyramid typically features a small chapel in front, serving as a sacred space for rituals and prayers. This chapel faces east, the direction of the sunrise, symbolizing life and rebirth. Inside the chapel are often reliefs depicting the deceased being welcomed by gods in the afterlife. The passage to the tomb is usually narrow and steep, like a journey descending into the underworld. These chambers were solidly built from stone bricks and mostly sealed tightly to prevent outside intrusion. Most Nubian pyramids were built from sandstone, a locally available material in the southern Nile Valley. However, the stones were precisely carved and arranged in an extremely scientific manner. Archaeologists have observed that despite lacking modern machinery, the Kushites had remarkably advanced construction techniques. They knew how to use natural mortar from clay mixed with ash and water to bind the stones. The bricks were not rough but well-shaped, showcasing meticulous stone-cutting skills. There is evidence suggesting they even built wooden scaffolding to lift stone blocks, a highly ingenious technique given the tools available at the time. Inside many pyramids, the Kushites left murals, hieroglyphs, and depictions of deities. Some tombs were even painted red, blue, and gold, symbolizing life, rebirth, and divinity. Images of Osiris, the goddess Isis, and the sun god Ammonius often appear, reflecting strong Egyptian cultural influences, but reinterpreted in a distinctly local style. Some pyramids had golden or gold-painted metal caps, symbolizing the sun and immortality. These were not just architectural structures, but works of art, the soul of a once glorious culture. Interestingly, during one period of history, the Kushites conquered Egypt and became pharaohs of both lands. This era is known as the 25th Dynasty of Egypt, also referred to as the Black Pharaohs. It was during this time that architectural influences between the two civilizations strongly intertwined. The Kushites adopted Egyptian mummification techniques, stone carving art, and religion, but they did not copy them entirely. Instead, they chose to reinvent these elements with their own identity, as exemplified by the distinctive shape of the Nubian pyramids. Meroe, the final capital of the Kingdom of Kush, is home to the highest concentration of pyramids, with more than 200 structures. Nuri is the burial site of the first kings of the Kingdom of Nubia, including Taharqa, one of the greatest rulers. El Kuru is the oldest cemetery, marking the beginning of the pyramid-building tradition in Nubia. For the Nubian people, pyramids were not just places of rest but also gateways to the divine world. Burial rituals were carried out with great care, with many precious items placed alongside the deceased, reflecting a deep belief in life after death. These pyramids were often constructed with burial chambers underground, and once completed, the entrances were sealed to protect the tombs from intruders. You know, there's something truly strange in history. The most powerful civilizations, no matter how high they once soared, eventually had to bow before time. And the Kingdom of Kush, with its pyramids rising from the heart of the desert, was no exception. From the 8th century BCE until around the 4th century CE, Kush was a formidable power that even Egypt had to respect. The kings of Kush once wore the pharaoh's crown, ruling from Meroe all the way to Memphis. But time, like the ever-flowing Nile, led them down a path of decline. Why did Kush fall? Partly due to the shifting of trade routes. When camel caravans and merchant ships began choosing other paths, through the Red Sea or along the coastal regions, Meroe gradually lost its central position. Trade had been the lifeblood of the Kushite Empire, so when that flow dried up, everything began to crack. Another part came from military pressure and the rise of new powers, especially the Kingdom of Aksum, now in Ethiopia, which grew increasingly strong. Around 350 CE, Aksum attacked and destroyed the city of Meroe, the heart of Kush. It was like the final blow to an already weary civilization. And then, slowly, desert sands began to cover the temples, hiding the golden stories of a once glorious time. Unlike Egypt, where pyramids were long symbols of grandeur and caught early Western attention, the Nubian pyramids were forgotten by the world for thousands of years. There were no early archaeological expeditions, no extensive documentation. These pyramids were buried in silence. It wasn't until the late 19th century that an Italian explorer named Giuseppe Ferlini officially rediscovered these structures, but sadly, he didn't come to study them, but to destroy them. Ferlini, like a crazed treasure hunter, destroyed many pyramid tops in search of gold. And he did find gold in some pyramids, only encouraging others to follow suit, leading to dozens of pyramids being irreparably damaged. Even more heartbreaking is that these structures, filled with the ancestral memory of African people, were crushed by the greed and indifference of an era. But history did not entirely turn its back. In the 20th and 21st centuries, excavations by archaeologists from Germany, France, and Sudan began to give voice to the Nubian pyramids. In regions like Meroe, Nuri, and El Kuru, dozens of pyramids have been cleared of sand, studied, and preserved. Archaeologists realized that the Nubian pyramids were not mere copies of Egypt's. They were a distinct architectural language, a unique cultural mark, full of depth and identity. The Kushites didn't simply imitate the Egyptians. They absorbed, modified, and created a world of their own. And those pyramids are the stone journals they left for future generations. Today, if you ever set foot in Sudan, where the sun burns your skin but the wind carries legends, you'll see the Nubian pyramids still standing tall, defying time, war, and oblivion. They are living witnesses of a once proud Africa, a civilization that had its own script, its own architecture, and a deep belief in life after death. And though damaged, though buried in dust for thousands of years, those pyramids still whisper to us today. We once lived, once loved, once dreamed, once built an empire under the sun. And that memory is still here, in every stone, every carving, every shadow cast at sunset. If you see those pyramids not just as stone and sand, but as whispers from the past. If you're as curious as I am about forgotten civilizations, untold secrets, then don't forget to subscribe to the channel. We still have many journeys ahead, many ancient stories waiting to be awakened. And I sincerely hope you'll always be with us, exploring, listening, and feeling. Thank you for watching until the end. Wishing you a peaceful day, and see you in the next video.